Cornel, Simon, Radio Rugby. I'm going to ask you in English. Your experience in the Bulls jersey, and especially a highlight as last weekend. Can you describe it a little bit in a few sentences or a short paragraph,
Yeah,
if
sure.
you might?
Yeah, obviously came over in January with a very well set team, and it was never going to be easy to make the 23, but I think just worked really hard for really long, and just the opportunity actually just came when it was least expected, and it was really special to make my debut in a playoff game with the crowd almost full capacity, and very special moment for my family and I. I think all the hard work paid off, and it was just like I said, a very, very special day, very special win as well. So
Well, you've obviously been in the Stormers environment. With the Bulls, is there much that you can take from, you've obviously been in a winning environment last year. What was that like? And how have you found your kind of time at the Bulls?
I think before coming here, the only union I'd been at was the Stormers. So that was pretty much the only thing I'd experienced. Coming to the Bulls, lots the same, a lot's different. So I think being a player coming from two different setups, I think you take what you like from the previous place, and then you learn some new things from the new place. And I think it makes you a much more well-rounded player. So I think some of the top internationals that are well-traveled come with very different skill sets. I mean, I think I heard Vali speaking about how his game completely changed when he was at Wasps. So I think, moving around a bit definitely complements your skill set, learning from different coaches, and makes you a much more well-rounded player.
Just on Saturday, you guys are obviously at home. Glasgow have got travel to contend with. They played an away semi-final. There's probably an expectation that you guys are favourites. Do you guys feel that? And are you aware of the kind of, does that add any pressure?
I think there's always pressure in playoff games. Always pressure. You're lying if you say there's no pressure, but I think in the squad the culture's more. Pressure is a privilege, and I think it's such a privilege to play in front of a fully packed LOFTUS stadium. And yes, maybe some people will say we're favorites, but we don't really look at it like that. We're just focusing on our week as if it's just any other normal week, trying not to let the occasion get the better of us, and just play the best rugby we can. So whether we're favorites or not, anything can happen on a day, and that's what we're prepping for, to play well on the day.
And what about Glasgow? How much can you take from the game that you played against them just at the start of last month? And what have you made of the way they've come through the playoffs?
We try not to look too much into that game. It was. I mean, look, we played against Leinster in the pool games, and we took 50, and then we played them here, and then we managed to win. So I don't think anything that happens in the pool stages is irrelevant now. So of course, we're going to do our analysis on them. They're going to do their analysis on us, and they're a very well coached team. So good luck to both teams, and let the better team win. Anything that happened in the pool stages is irrelevant, like I said, and whoever comes out on top on Saturday has all the bragging rights. So. Yeah.
Hi, Cornel. Just following up on that, you said anything in the pool stages is irrelevant. But I know you weren't playing that day against Glasgow, but when you guys were in command for a good hour of the match, and then they came back, it must tell you something either about yourselves and how you can exploit your strengths and other teams' weaknesses, no?
I mean, just like you said, there was a passage of the game where we probably dominated, but there was a passage of the game where they definitely dominated. We almost ended up losing that game. So, like I said, I mean, we can take positives from that game, so can they. So, we have to look. A lot has happened for both teams since then. There was a lot said about us before last week's game. There was a lot said about them as well. Everyone was saying it was meant to be a Munster Leinster final. So, like I said, we're just gonna do our analysis as best as we can and prep as best as we can. Not try to look too much into that game. Obviously, both teams will, like I said, do their analysis on certain plays and this and that. But on Saturday, once again, all the bragging rights goes to the one who wins.
I mean, obviously, that was a regular season game, as you said, and it was part of their mini tour of South Africa. This will be a standalone occasion. how much do you want to just ignore the fact it's a final and look at it as just another match, or do you like hyping up big occasions?
I think for us, sometimes I think South Africans can get a bit emotional, so we try to more calm it down and just focus on the details and about staying calm. I think once we get out there and we see the stadium's fully packed, I think then those emotions and that hunger and that, like I said, that aggression will come out naturally. I don't think we're not a team that's very rah-rah or before the game banging our heads against, the lockers and stuff like that. We're very calm and we're just comfortable in each other's presence and just focus on the plan. And I think the aggression and that motivation comes from itself. I don't think anyone here needs to be motivated. So like you say, I know it's easy to say try focus on it as if it's just a game. We're trying to do that, but the reality is everyone knows it is a final. So
Thanks very much, Lunga. How's it, Cornel? Cornel, obviously last weekend was massive for you, making your debut in the semi-final against one of the biggest club teams in the world. But now this weekend, you may have to step into the shoes of Willie Leroux, which is another big thing, if he doesn't make that, make it for the game. Are you ready to handle that pressure? And do you think this is sort of your moment to shine?
I think it's much less a personal thing for me now. Yes, it's very special to make my debut in the semi-final. Obviously, for myself, like I said, very special, but the most important thing is the team. At the end of the day, we all look much better on our CVs if we have a URC championship there. So whatever we can do to help the team, whether that means me starting, being on the bench, or even not playing, I'll happily fill that role to be a URC champion. So personally, on the field last week, I felt very comfortable and I really enjoyed it. So if I get thrown to starting bench or not playing, I think I'll be ready for anything to help the team. Yeah.
Great. And, you obviously in the Stormers setup the last time the Bulls were in the URC final a couple of years ago. Is there any chat in the camp about that game? It was a very, very tight game. Stormers just coming out on top. But any chatter in the camp about that? And from your perspective, having been in the setup at the Stormers, do you also take that experience?
Yeah, I think, obviously I personally didn't play in that game, but was involved in that campaign. So it's a little bit strange for me coming here, obviously, and hearing the other side of the story, because my side of the story is obviously just the elation of the win. But yeah, definitely something that we look back to. A large part of our squad has felt that pain of losing in a final, and I think like Coach Jake says, we've paid our school fees. He keeps saying we've paid our school fees. If we lost that game and didn't learn from it, then there wasn't much learning that took place. So definitely something that's been mentioned. We're not dwelling on it. It's not like we're trying to make up for lost time, but definitely taking that experience from the loss and using it, for our benefit for this weekend.
Thanks, Lunga. Hi, Cornel. It's Ashfaq here in Cape Town. Growing up and coming through Bishops and Western Province, can you actually believe it that you lining up or being part of a Bull setup, won a semi-final and getting ready for a final?
Yeah, it's amazing how quickly things change. Obviously growing up, family is a huge fans of Western Province and Stormers, but yeah, I think it was time for me personally to put that aside and try to focus on what was best for my career. So yeah, obviously it's a bit weird thinking that I just played for the Bulls in a semi-final and we're getting ready for a final, but yeah, it's an amazing experience and very grateful for my time at the Stormers. But geez, I'm loving my time here at the Bulls as well. So yeah, come from Cape Town, but definitely reformed Bulls fan and player now. So yeah, loving my time here.
Where you originally in Cape Town are you from, if I may ask?
Melkbosstrand.
Melkbosstrand, okay.
Yes,
and reuniting with another Bishop's old boy Nizam. How's that been for you, and has he shown you around Victoria?
That's awesome. Yeah, I love Nemo. I was in the junior school actually when he was in the high school, so we weren't actually ever on the same campus at the same time, but my brother and him were in the same grade at Bishop, so obviously I was always in and around the school with my brother being there, and always watched Nemo play first team, and was a huge hero of mine, obviously making SA schools in his matric year, wanting to be just like him. So my time at the Stormers with him, I was very young. I didn't really mingle with him much because I think I was under 19s, under 20s, sort of more with the juniors. And then he obviously left to Wasps. But coming here, yeah, we've got a very strong bond, and we get along very well. And obviously, it's cool knowing that we come from the same school. And who'd have thought two Bishops boys would end up, playing for the Bulls in Pretoria.
Yeah, just one more, Cornel. A lot of people may not have expected the win last week, but you got there now. But is there danger also that you want to avoid having sort of played your final already in the semi-final, because it was such a big win, and now there's so much emotion and adrenaline and everything that went with the victory. But you still have a final to win and a trophy to win. How difficult is it to balance that and to make sure that you can raise up to that kind of level again, intensity and effort?
I think Coach Jake did mention that in our meeting, talking about people saying that we played our final last week, sort of, for example, maybe like when England beat the All Blacks in the semi-final or something like that. But realistically, Munster had a home semi, and Glasgow had to go there and play them there against all odds. So, I mean, you could say the same thing for them. So I think it's very even playing fields for both teams. And also, if you look at the Springboks in the World Cup as well, they had to play 3 finals 3 weeks after each other, and they still managed to get it right. So I think we've got a big part of our squad that was part of that campaign that we can sort of take some experience from in that aspect. And, it's been done. People playing massive games, emotionally, physically draining games week after week and winning them. So, yeah, it was definitely mentioned, but mainly just that we don't fall into that trap. And just stay focused for the week. So I think it was mentioned, but it's not something we focused on.
Hello. Just from my side, just how have you grown since joining the Bulls?
Sure, but open-ended question. But yeah, I think to be quite frank, I've grown a lot. So always been in Cape Town, Stellenbosch, very close to family, and even though I was in boarding school, always very close to my family and friends. I'd say it was very much a comfort zone I was in then. I think that was a big part of my decision to want to leave the Stormers and come here. So I think, a lot more autonomy, a lot more adult learnings, and obviously coming in, leaving a setup where I was extremely comfortable, coming into one where I only know a couple people and completely different coaching structures. Just everything's different. But at the end of the day, it's still rugby, and that's where I found sort of my peace and my comfort. So I think I've grown a lot as a person and as a player. Like I said earlier, I think learning from 2 different setups, you take those little bits from the old setup that you've learned, and you can bring it in here, and then your eyes are sort of opened up to new things when you come here, different coaches, different ways of thinking. And I think it's pretty beautiful and amazing, and it's opened my eyes up a lot. And yeah, like you say, I think I've grown a lot as a player and a person. So yeah.
First question, I mean, obviously we're speaking after the fact, and everything has actually gone well in the game against Leinster, but beforehand, to make your debut for your new team kind of like 6 months later and against Leinster, and then when you do have to come on, you have to come on in a different position like wing. Just the psychology of that. Can you talk us through it? The nerves, if I should call it that.
Yeah, I think everyone's speaking about it as my debut per se, but I mean, I've played at this level. I've played Champions Cup. I've played almost 40 Currie Cup games. So I think at the end of the day, it was just my first game for a new team, and I felt very, very comfortable, if I'm honest. Obviously, there were nerves, but that's normal. I think everyone had nerves, and I just sort of focused on my job. And I think, before the game, obviously knew I was covering wing, but more expecting to come on at center. And then sort of when I came on, I just, you just sort of feed off the rest of the guys. I think Devin moved to fullback, obviously, and he was playing wing. So, you kind of, he's talking to you the whole time with his knowledge of playing the wing. So it just helps a lot. And I never felt alone. And I think with regards to my first game being quite a while after, I think it was kind of a weird one coming through in the middle of the season, when the team is so settled and every game was a must win because we wanted home playoffs. So I think when you have guys like Stedman Gans, Harold Foster, and David Creel playing as well as they are, and then you get a newcomer just coming in halfway through the season, I don't think there's much merit to taking them out of every game as a must win. So I was just prepping, waiting for my chance, and yeah, I'd like to say that I was ready for it when it came, and yeah, I was more excited than anything. Obviously there were nerves, but I was very excited. And yeah, I've played wing before. I've started, I think, 2 games for the Stormers at wing and covered them many times. So I felt pretty comfortable. And yeah, turning 27 at the end of the year, so I'm not new to the game, but yeah, it was my first game for a new team, so it was pretty exciting.
Hi, Cornel. Just a short question from me. What is your favorite position in the back line? Inside center or outside?
Oh, it's difficult. I think it's all about combinations for me. So with certain players, I prefer 12. With other players, I prefer 13. But I'd say attacking, I prefer at 12, but I love defending at 13. I know a lot of people say 13 is a tough place to defend, but I really enjoy the challenge there. So to be honest with you, it's pretty slap bang down the middle. It probably depends on which side of the bed I wake up.
Cornel, how much confidence have you guys taken out of this performance against Leinster last week? Because it was one hell of a big effort by you guys. Jake spoke about the defense and where has his team been all season. So what has it win done for you guys as players?
Tough question, but I think definitely showed us just sort of where our potential is as a group. I think to be quite fair, our defense has gotten a lot of scrutiny over the season. But if you compare, quite honestly, my personal opinion is if you compare the conditions we play in to any other URC game, I mean, we play at 2 p.m. at altitude in the boiling heat every game. That's a recipe for amazing attack. So I think just because we've played at those times and, you know, there's been sun, the ball is dry, it's much easier to chuck the pull around and it makes defense a lot harder. We played this game a bit later, a much more of a playoff feel. I think just the confidence that we got from our D and the potential that we sort of lived up to, I think that's what we can take out of it. And I think, yeah, we were still able to chuck the pull around as well. So I think just more, we've proven to ourselves at what level we can play and defend, and we've proven it to other people. Now the challenge is just to with or uphold those standards. Yeah.